The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon has officially wrapped up its third season, and while the protagonists didn't quite manage to make it home from America, they did resolve several key conflicts. After leaving The Walking Dead's fallen United Kingdom, Carol and Daryl sailed towards the US before unintentionally washing up in Spain following a storm. Ever since, they've been trying to repair their boat and get home, but quickly found themselves getting invested in the Spanish residents of Solas del Mar. During the finale, Carol attempted to save her Daryl Dixon Season 3 love interest, while Daryl headed to El Alcázar with Paz to try and rescue Elena and Justina. Despite the odds stacked against both protagonists, they risked their lives for people they barely met, showcasing their humanity. However, even after completing their missions, the central characters didn't manage to make it home as their boat was sabotaged by one of the spin-off's central villains, creating a finale with plenty to unpack. Daryl and Paz rescued Elena and Justina while taking down El Alcázar. Although several villain groups have emerged throughout Daryl Dixon Season 3, El Alcázar was by far the biggest threat in Spain before Daryl and Paz took them down. After finding out Feed had essentially traded his niece to the group against her will, Daryl agreed to go rescue Justina on his own before meeting Paz en route to Barcelona. While their initial plan didn't work out, they posed as workers who wore masks as a means of infiltrating the evil settlement. During a dinner among El Alcázar's most influential residents, Daryl was able to sabotage a play that used zombies to let them loose from behind the curtain, causing all hell to break loose. The King of Spain was bitten as everyone fled the room, prompting Daryl and Paz to split up. The latter attempted to locate her ex-girlfriend, who had been transferred to El Alcázar during a previous La Ofrenda, while Daryl used the chaos as an opportunity to set the place alight before tracking down Justina. Justina tried to escape by threatening the man who selected her for marriage, but her plan quickly backfired and started a fight. Fortunately, Daryl saved her just in time and freed several other women before escaping the community. Meanwhile, Paz located Elena and learned she had a son, buying time for them to pack up and leave. However, after killing a guard, she was knocked down by Torres, the same man who had thwarted her plans to rescue Elena several years ago. Things played out differently this time though, as Elena stabbed her husband while Paz delivered the finishing blow, eventually reuniting with Daryl and the other women outside the premises. This seemed to mark the end of the antagonist group, with Paz, Elena, and the others bidding farewell to Daryl and Justina, who traveled back to Solas together. The pair rode back on Daryl's motorcycle, just in time to help end the commotion going on inside the fortified town. Carol helped rescue Antonio before Feed was exposed. As Daryl and Paz took down El Alcázar, Carol returned to Solas del Mar to rescue Antonio. Having previously left the community while smuggling Antonio's son out of town, Carol decided to return, knowing her romantic interest would be in trouble after standing up to Feed in front of everyone. Arriving with a few of Valentina's men, they managed to free Antonio, who was being tortured and left in the middle of town as punishment, leading to a shootout. One of the residents allowed Antonio and Carol to hide out in their home until Feed's men came looking, leading to the two sneaking out through a secret exit. Several townsfolk came together to help them escape, but they were eventually sold out by Gustavo, who took them to Feed in exchange for medicine. Rather than kill them, Feed managed to locate Roberto and chain him to walkers, allowing Carol and Antonio to help protect him, albeit without the luxury of weapons. They managed to keep the zombies at bay, with some of the spectators feeling guilty and dropping weapons to help them fight, but ultimately, Daryl saved the day once again during Daryl Dixon Season 3's ending. He arrived in the nick of time to shoot the undead, stalling just long enough for Justina to arrive and tell the truth. After she revealed that Feed was the real traitor, the town came together to kill the walkers, and Feed was imprisoned for his treachery, ending the conflict in Solas del Mar while allowing Justina and Roberto to properly reunite. Why Feed destroyed the boat in Daryl Dixon Season 3's finale. With all conflicts settled, it seemed like it would be a simple trip home for Daryl and Carol, especially with Antonio, Roberto, and Justina all joining them on their journey. Sadly, things weren't quite as straightforward, as Feed's mother released him from prison, prompting Solas' former leader to confront Daryl down at the beach. Holding him at gunpoint, he promised to kill the Walking Dead veteran, but Carol tackled the villain just as he went to pull the trigger. Remarkably, The Walking Dead ended a common trope of needlessly killing off new characters in Daryl Dixon Season 3's final showdown, as there were no casualties during this scuffle except for one, the boat. The bullets from Feed's gun pierced through the ship and set it ablaze, with the group unable to put it out. Not only did this undo a season's worth of hard work, but the vessel will likely now be beyond repair, giving the main characters no clear way of returning home. While Feed didn't intentionally sabotage their voyage, he did want revenge on Daryl for being a thorn in his side, and he would have presumably killed everyone else on the beach as well, perhaps other than Justina. He clearly didn't want the survivors to leave, but his actions were purely out of vengeance, rather than any other motive. Still, he ended up costing Daryl and Carol their best chance at returning to the Commonwealth, but Solas Del Mar did offer one glimmer of hope through a major character return. Codron returned to Daryl Dixon and somehow made it to Spain. Having last been seen during Season 2's finale, it seemed like Daryl Dixon may have forgotten about Codron after his disappearance in the channel. However, to many fans' surprise, he showed up in Spain, wandering the country on his own before stumbling across Laurent's Rubik's Cube that Daryl placed by a monument. The show never provided any details about how he got to Spain, a mystery that will presumably be resolved in the next installment, but seeing Codron return to Daryl Dixon was certainly a welcome twist. We only got a brief glimpse of him at the start of the episode, but it certainly appeared as though he was looking for the protagonists. He then featured again in Season 3's closing moments, where he spotted the fiery ship from afar, suggesting his reunion with Carol and Daryl is certainly on the cards. Given that he has been one of the spin-off's best characters, his presence should undeniably spice up Season 4, providing something for viewers to look forward to. How Daryl Dixon Season 3's ending sets up the final season. Manuel Fernandez Valdez AMC. With Daryl Dixon Season 4 confirmed as the final outing for the spin-off, it is bound to be bigger and better than ever, especially after Season 3's finale. It may not have ended on a stereotypical cliffhanger.